Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Candid Campus. I'm your host, Lauren Lucas, and today I'm joined by Assistant Professor in the Communication and Emerging Media Department, Dr. Pippert. Thank you so much for joining me, Dr. Pippert.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Let's get right into it. You mentioned growing up in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and later living in places like Tampa and D.C. What was it like living in those environments?
So I actually grew up in a place called Greensburg instead of Greensboro. Yeah, it's right. It's Pennsylvania, so everything's a burg up there. It's right outside of Pittsburgh, and so it's very rural. The area I grew up in, but 40 minutes from a city. So it's not that different from a lot of areas here in South Carolina, where you got that combination of small town feel and big city nearby kind of thing. It was always very interesting, although I say it was small town, but my high school, my graduating class had almost 500 people in it.
Wow.
Which is not actually small, but the town itself is the size of Aiken. So in terms of that, it's not that different. I always say I'm always confused about how I've lived in so many other places. I'm a natural homebody. I don't like to leave my house. I don't really like human beings. I don't like to travel. I don't. The fact that I picked up and moved to Florida to go to school, I didn't know a single person in the state of Florida when I moved there. It was just, I make spur of the moment decisions sometimes, but I've liked every single place I've ever lived. I have to say, I loved D.C. a lot. D.C.'s very expensive.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
There's lots of free stuff to do. It's great when people visit you. There's museums. There's like places to walk.
Touristy things.
Yes. You never, like when people come, you never run out of things to do. But I lived there for 2 years when I got my master's, and that was enough. Like I enjoyed every second, but coming out of there, everywhere I've lived since, it's like everything's so affordable in comparison. But I always joke I'm an East Coast girl. So I've lived a good amount of places, but I never leave the East Coast. I just go up and down it.
Yeah. So. I feel like especially in a big city like DC, like you have your time there and you enjoy it, and then it's just like, all right.
Yes, exactly. Although sometimes I miss the food.
Ooh, I bet they had good food.
A lot of good, and it was all walking distance. Like I didn't even own a car when I lived in DC. You could just walk to anything. Yeah, I do miss walking to good food.
This is your first year teaching at USCA Aiken. What originally brought you here?
The cynical answer is, we just want a job, which it brings most people everywhere. But the thing that I really, ever since I have been in undergrad, let me rewind. I didn't set out to become an academic or a professor when I went in undergrad. I was actually a film major. I wanted to be a filmmaker. It was what I wanted to do. Turned out I didn't actually like the production part, which it seems like you all like it here, which is great, but it wasn't for me. And so I went more into the communications kind of marketing side. I worked in marketing for a few years, and I love school and I love learning. And the people who I met in my undergrad experience were so transformative to who I am, both the fellow students and the professors, that it took me less than 9 months working not in a school to be like, I need to go back. I need to go back right now. And so my goal from the very beginning was always to end up back in a place that was like my undergraduate experience, where close-knit community, professors care about their students, like invested in the community, in everybody, in each other. And so that's what that's what I love about being here. Like I've only been here 9 months, but every single part of that has been super fulfilling because it takes me back to exactly where I wanted to be when I started. And I think that's what I find so very appealing about USCA.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I'm a junior here, and I feel like it's definitely close-knit, close with our professors. I mean, I totally agree. I love it here.
Correct.
So you were a television studies scholar. You like shows like MASH and Murder, She Wrote. What stands out to you about those shows decades later?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think, more, to me, they hold up in ways that some other shows don't. I love old things. I was partially raised by my grandmother. And so like her taste in television, her taste in music transformed my kind of youth experience of those things. And so they're nostalgic for me they take me back to when when my grandmother was alive and we like watched these shows together. But at the same time, they informed a lot of kind of what I like to study, especially MASH, which is I study a lot of historical portrayals of and how they reflect contemporary cultural concerns. And so MASH, if you're familiar with it at all, is about the Korean War, so early 1950s, but it was made in the 70s. And so it's really about Vietnam. And so these parallels where we use historical storytelling to kind of talk about the present is something that I study now, but it started, I think, with my love of that show. Murder, She Wrote, I just like watching Angela Lansbury solve crimes. And if I could make her facial expressions regularly in my daily life, I think I would be happy. Like, I want to be her when I grow up.
I want to be here. I love that. I love that. You said you don't like horror movies, which I can totally, me too. Is there one that almost converted you to not liking them, or have you always just never touched horror movies?
No, I'm very I'm a hypochondriac and very squeamish and even though my rational brain, like, I went to film school, I know how they did those effects. I know none of it is real. It's a very kind of lizard brain response where I cannot watch blood and gore. And so those kinds of movies, especially the gory ones, I can handle the kind of more thriller ones where they're not, it's all suspense. I don't like them. I like to know the ending of things before they start, which is a very controversial, like I genuinely will look up how books and movies end before I start. I know, it's appalling. I know, but I mean, my philosophy is it should hold up even if you do know the ending, and I don't like surprises. But I can do those in a way I can't do the slasher. There's something about the blood. I still remember in second grade when they talked about how scabs formed. I had to go sit out in the hallway because I was going to pass out.
That's too funny.
So, yeah. Ugh.
I'm the same way. I mean, like, with gore and stuff, my boyfriend always tries to get me to do, like, watch horror movies during, like, Halloween and stuff, and I'm like, no.
But it's interesting. I have a bad habit. I watch other people's analysis on, like, YouTube books of horror movies because I find the ways that they tell stories and how they create the effects and how they build suspense to be super interesting. I don't want to experience as a viewer. I just want to watch. I want to learn about how they did it. I don't want to feel those feelings.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You collect old media stuff like VCRs, old phones, portable TVs. What's your proudest item in your collection?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. It changes. Basically, when I everything I find something new, it becomes my new favorite thing. But I think my favorite thing right now is I found a working Video Now player, which is not that old. It's actually late 90s, early 2000s. So it's not that old, but the fact that it works. So this was like a portable CD player, but for television, and it would have these little discs that you would put in, and the screen was like 1.5 inches by an 1.5 inches. It was black and white. And it almost reminds me of, have you ever seen a Tamagotchi?
Yeah.
The Tamagotchi graphic level.
Movies?
The discs I have are like episodes of SpongeBob that you can put in the little disc, and then you can watch it. And it's just so bizarre. And I don't even know how many of these actually, I didn't know anyone who had one of these when they were a thing. I knew there were commercials, those like Nickelodeon commercials where you kind of knew what they were. But it's my favorite thing because it looks like something it isn't. It looks like a portable CD player. And then when you really start to look at it, and then you're like, who is this for? Who's
the target audience here?
Yes, and did they enjoy it? Like, couldn't you just go watch SpongeBob on a TV? Like, why did you need a tiny little pixelated Tamagotchi screen to watch SpongeBob? Was your need that great? Did you need it that bad? I love stuff like that. I have a lot of portable TVs because I'm a TV person. Yeah.
So where do you find all these different things?
Oh, thrift stores, eBay, friends of friends' parents' closets.
Oh.
I have like they know that if their parents are doing spring cleaning. I just got a whole box of old cell phones from a friend of mine's mom who was spring cleaning, like the ones that not just flipped out, but flipped out and had like the big antenna, like the 80s style cell phones. I was very excited about that.
Very cool, very cool. What do you think that we have lost in the transition from physical to streaming and social media and things like that?
I think there's a couple of things. I think there's a materiality factor, the thingness of media. We've lost a little, not entirely, but when your phone is a computer and you can listen to music and you can watch television, you can do everything on this computer, and you don't have to switch devices, and you don't have to have a VCR and a DVD and an old, like VCRs usually have like a rewinder, so you can easily rewind. Like there was all this stuff that went with the consumption of media that I feel like in some ways it's made our lives easier. We have less junk in our house, but at the same time, there's kind of a temporal aspect. We have to slow down and like touch the things as we watch them. And I think we lose that. And I think we also lose some spontaneity. I was just talking to Dr. Morris the other day about how so much of what I watched as a kid was just on TV. Like I didn't pick it. I just turned on the TV and it was like halfway through some, I don't know, Adam Sandler movie or some action movie. And I barely knew what I was watching, but you just watched it because that was on. You couldn't find the remote. It was under the couch somewhere. And that's just what you watched. And I feel like some of that spontaneity, now we get to choose what we watch. We have way more selection, streaming services, and it's amazing, right? And there's so much good stuff out there, but nobody watches crap anymore. Like against their will.
Junk TV.
Just junk that they didn't pick that was just on. And there's something about that culture, that exposure of how many things that I wish I didn't know about sometimes, but I know about because they were just on the radio or they were just on the television. And I think there's something lost in terms of mass culture and like our shared connections when we're all kind of in our own little media ecosystems, watching our own things. And we're not watching the crappy movies they put on TV at 11 o'clock at night because there's nothing better to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I grew up with like cable TV and having that experience. And I feel like almost with streaming, especially with the ads, it's kind of going back to the way that it was formatted on cable.
Absolutely, but worse.
Yeah.
Because streaming shows you the same 2 ads on repeat. At least there was variety on cable.
And now they got like QR codes up there.
It's streaming. They didn't think through if it was a sustainable model for media. They didn't know, and so we're regressing in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
You said that you enjoy stress baking. What is your go-to stress-induced dish?
Oh, I have a couple things I make on cycle, and if you take one of my classes, I will probably feed you one of them at some point. So I like to make chocolate cupcakes. I have a chocolate crinkle cookie, which most people do not like crinkle cookies because I think everyone else does them incorrectly.
What is in that?
So it's like a fudge cookie, and it's the ones that kind of are coated in powdered sugar and then baked. And so they as they spread out the powdered sugar and it looks cracked on the top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And other people make them really cakey, but I think they should be like a brownie. And so you got to trust me. The people are like, I don't want that. I'm like, no, trust me. And the other thing I like to make is oatmeal cream pies.
Ooh, I've never had a homemade oatmeal cream pie.
Okay, take a class with me and I'll make you one.
Score. You said you and your partner enjoy making board games, and your current one is called Rat Tornado. What? Just tell me about that.
Yeah, so we're both board game nerds, and we both are inherently like we like to do creative things and make things. And so if we go too long without making stuff, we kind of feel a little stir crazy. And so we started making just like random board games. A Rat Tornado stems from a very bizarre, I'm not even sure if it really happened, story where my sister and I were in a car driving down a highway in Florida, which is where my sister lives. And we swear we saw a rat go underneath this car and then get picked up and swirled around like a tornado. And nobody believes us. No one believes that this happened. They think we made it up. And at this point, we've told the story so many times that maybe we did. I don't actually know for sure. Memory is a fickle thing. So it's a dice rolling game where you try to roll dice to get as many rats to build the biggest rat tornado as possible. It's in a work in progress. We haven't tested it enough. It needs fixed. But yeah.
So do you like paint the board or like?
So sometimes like Rat Tornado, I don't envision as a board, like having a board. It's more kind of like a frantic dice rolling game.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but with the dice, we'll have little rats on them. So I haven't decided yet. My partner thinks we should 3D print them. I think they should be wooden dice with wood burning in it. But that's gonna be duked out at a later point. But we've made games in the past where we normally print the board game out kind of from a printer and then kind of assemble it into we buy old like Monopoly boards from thrift stores and then shellac the what y'all made. Yes, it's not very professional. Yeah,
it's just for y'all. It's just for y'all. So.
Exactly. I wouldn't let most people play the games we design because they're very strange. I mean,
so what other games have you made?
Well, we made one that is themed after my mother's dog, who we think can see ghosts, and it's called Being Ghosty Hunter.
Way cute.
And you play as the ghosts, and you're trying to escape the house before the dog can find you, while haunting it.
Wait, so tell me a little bit about this dog that sees ghosts.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen a dog that just barks at a corner? Yeah, yes. She does that. And closets. One time she climbed into my mom's closet onto a series of boxes to just bark up at the top corner of it. And it's very bizarre. I'm not really a believer in ghosts, but you have to wonder what they see when they bark like that, just nonstop.
Oh, yeah. That stuff like freaks me out, especially with like kids. Oh, don't even get me started. You said that you went whitewater rafting on level 4 rapids without a tour guide.
Yeah.
Walk me through that entire story.
Accidentally. Okay. So it starts Western Pennsylvania. We're about 25 minutes from the Appalachian Mountains. We have a place called Ohio Powell that does a lot of, it's on the Ohio River, and it does a lot of, outdoorsy things. And so our whole childhood, we would go up there. And we'd done whitewater rafting a lot, but we are not rafters, my sister and me, at all. And one day we just decide, we're going to go whitewater rafting today. And we pack a cooler filled with ham sandwiches. And the context for this is we had gone 2 years before, and we have no understanding of how rapids work. So it turns out that how dangerous rapids are depends on how much rain you're getting in a given season. So the year we went, there had been very little rain. So the rapids were very low. And so it was just like a leisurely float down the river. They weren't rapids. In fact, at one point we had to get out and pull the raft over the rocks because there wasn't enough water to get us over the rocks. So we're probably 19 to 21, somewhere in that range. To our brains, it's always like that. We're fine. We just pack up, we bring our cooler ham sandwiches. We're going to leisurely float down the river and eat ham sandwiches. Turned out it had been an extremely rainy season. So at base level, these rapids are 3s with 1 4. So now they were like 1s and 2s when we went. Now they're 4s with 1 5s. And we run the thing. We have to do a little training thing. And the guy tells us, here are your life jackets. Here's what you do. There's this phrase, love the rock and hate the rock, which is how you lean to turn in rafting. And afterwards, he's like, you're experienced, right? You know what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, we do this all the time. No, we don't. So we get into this rapid. I never thought I was going to die before that day. Genuinely, we're going down. You're bashing into the rocks. We're all screaming. I just hear my friends screaming, love the rock, love the rock. I don't even think we remembered what it meant anymore about which way you're supposed to lean to survive. And at one point we were like, we have to get out. We're going to die here today if we do not get out. And my sister is the most stubborn human being you will ever meet. And she said, no, we can do this. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So we get back in, go around another bend, and she fell out and she almost drowned. And it sounds horrible, but I am grateful that she fell out and drowned because she's bossy and stubborn. And because she fell out and we got her, she was like, no, we're done here. Thank goodness. So we pull out on the side, and we're just in the woods now. This wasn't a place you were supposed to get out of the river. We just pull out of the river. So we have no idea where we are. And so we decide I'm going to go up the path one way and see if the path is there. And someone else is going to go up the other way. So I go, there's no path my way. I come back, they're gone. The raft is gone. Nobody is there. And there's just my sister's water bottle laying on the ground, pointing in this direction. So do you know the story of the lost colony of Roanoke?
Vaguely.
Like the colony, someone goes to get help that's not doing well. They go back to England to get help, and they say, if you have to leave here because you're starving or whatever, when I get back, leave a sign of where you've gone. So we always joke that I got Roanoked because they just left this water bottle pointing in the direction and up this hill, and they just left me there, and I had to roam. And we got back, and we saved the ham sandwiches. They were okay. They were a little damp, but they were okay.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And I don't think we even realized then. It wasn't until we got home, and they have those cameras that they set up to take pictures, and you can buy the pictures of yourself like rafting down the river. Mm-hmm. And we looked up the pictures, and they had like all the watermarks on them, but we were not even visible in these pictures. The rapids were it was just the foam surrounding the raft. We had no business being on that river. Mm-hmm. That guy knew that. He knew that. That's why he was like, "Are you sure?" He should never have believed us when we said we got this. But we're all alive. Crazy. We're all alive, and we enjoyed the ham sandwiches in the end.
That's good.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Would you ever go again?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. But I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you.
So towards the end of every Candid Campus segment, we do a this or that.
Ooh, okay.
Where you say, I just name out some things, and you're just going to say which one you liked the most.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Perfect.
So Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Text or call?
Text. Calling for grandparents.
Sandals or sneakers?
Sandals.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Movie date or dinner date?
Movie.
Oh, yeah. You for sure, especially.
Yeah. And I don't want to talk to people that much, so movie.
The station or the sack?
The station.
I think we've had almost every single person here say the station.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Pippert, for joining me on this episode. Be sure to follow Pacer Studios on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to keep updated. And thank you guys for joining us.